Hi everyone, welcome back to Golf with Michelle. I'm looking a little bit different today, and of course, definitely in a very different environment because we're currently in lockdown in Malaysia. So I just thought that today I'll be doing something indoor, and of course I want to share a topic and something that I think is really important in order for you to score better and play more consistent golf. Okay, so the topic that I would like to share with you guys today is distance versus distance control. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. Sorry, my writing is not too pretty, but I guess we have to bear with it. Distance versus distance control. Okay. I think that a lot of golfers tend to focus too much on distance, on gaining distance, compared to focusing on distance control. No doubt that I think that both of them are equally important. I think that distance and distance control is just equally important. It's always great to hit it far, all right? I think that if you can gain some yardage on the golf course, you'll be closer to the green, it will make your life easier. And I think that if you will be able to maintain the same level of control with your swing and of course your ball flight, please go ahead. Distance will definitely make you a better golfer. So I'd like to ask you guys, do you guys actually know your exact yardages for each club in your bag? Okay? Do you all know how far you hit your 7-iron on average? I know a lot of beginners and amateur golfers, they always go by feel. Yes, no doubt we use a lot of feel. I have people telling me that when I'm passing a ball or I'm tossing a garbage into the bin, I don't know how far the bin is, or I don't really measure how far it is before I toss the garbage or I throw a ball, right? Yes, that is very true. That's a lot of feel. But I like to use this concept on the green. Like on normal putting green, let's say it's about 30 meters long or 30 meters wide, and let's say you have maybe about 25 meters putt or even a 3 feet putt, right? We still use only one club. So no doubt that's a lot of feel, okay? So I would like to use that concept more on the putting green. But then when we have another 12 to 13 clubs in the bag, why not we try to make the full use out of it by knowing exact distance, right? Know exactly how far I hit my 9-iron, my 8-iron, my 7-iron, my 6-iron. So I think that distance control is really important for you to be able to control and definitely play a lot more consistent golf. Okay, so I'm going to now talk about the benefits of having good distance control, okay? So we're going to talk about the benefits. Benefits of good distance control. Number one, you will definitely hit more greens. Why I say that you will definitely hit more greens is because if you know your yardage as well, and let's say I have 130 meters to the pin, and the green is about 30 meters long, and I know that if the pin is 130 meters in the middle of the green, I will have to hit at least 115 meters, right, to the edge of the green. So sometimes people might think that, oh, I think my 9-iron or my 8-iron might get there, or let's say today I'm feeling it or I'm not. But sometimes we kind of doubt ourselves, right? So it's really important that if you know your yardages well enough, at least you will get that out of your mind already. You just need to tell yourself that I need to hit it at least about 120 meters and let it run out to 130 meters, or I have to carry it straight to 130 meters if the green is slow or is soft, you know? So if you know your yardages well, you will definitely hit more greens, okay? Number two, you will have shorter putts, right? I'm sure I don't really have to elaborate on that. It's because if you do know your distance well, you'll definitely hit it closer and you will have shorter putts, more chance for birdie and pars, all right? So number three, you'll be able to plan your game better. Not all of us hit it good every single day, right? So we might be hitting it too much to the right or too much to the left on a certain day. So if you do know your yardages well enough, you actually can plan the game better. I'm not hitting the pin, I'm not like throwing darts on that day, I'm not hitting it straight at the flag. So at least I know that I will miss it on the right side, or let's say maybe it's better to hit it over the green because there's bunkers in front of the green, or there's hazard at the back, I'm just gonna miss it short right or short left. At least if you can control your distance well, you know that you're gonna plan your game better to avoid yourself from hitting like different, like really tough condition, like thick rough, or having to flop a shot over the bunker, or having to get yourself out of hazard, right? So I think that it's really important that you have good distance control so you can plan your game better and place the ball where you want to place it, right? Just focusing on where you want to hit it instead of worrying what happened if I hit it too short, or what happened if I hit it too long. So these are the three main benefits that I think that it will help you, and it will be able to help you play better golf with good distance control. Okay, after knowing the benefits of having good distance control, I'm going to move on to how we practice to know your yardages better. A lot of golfers or amateur golfers out there actually just kind of get an idea of how far they should hit an iron with the people around them. So let's say you play with a bunch of friends that have been playing for a while, and let's say they hit the 7-iron about 150 meters. So always in your mind that you think that I should hit my 7-iron 150 meters. So no matter what, you're going to do anything, buy new clubs, or change your shafts, or try to change your swing, or try to hit it harder or hit it softer to get to a certain distance, right? The ideal distance that you think that you should be hitting a certain club. So I think that it's really important to know yourself better by getting a good rangefinder, okay? So I think a rangefinder is really important. If you can invest in a rangefinder, it will definitely help you know your yardages better. I know that not all of us have the opportunity to get yourself on a TrackMan. If you can get yourself on a TrackMan, that will give you a more accurate number as well. If you can get a professional to help you do it, fantastic. If not, having a rangefinder will definitely help you know your yardages better. Of course, you can go to the driving range, all right? Not all of us can afford a rangefinder. If you can go to the driving range and go to a driving range that actually give you a very accurate distance, like let's say they're 100 meters, or they're 120 meters or 130 meters, they actually have like poles on their driving range that will tell you exact yardages. That's fantastic. If not, I still think that you will need a rangefinder. So get a rangefinder, number one. After getting a rangefinder, I would like for you to head out to the driving range. Okay, so number one, we need to get to the driving range. And I would like for you to get about 100 balls, all right? 100 balls, make sure you warm up yourself pretty nicely before we head on to working on the yardages. So in order to get your yardages down, you're gonna make sure that you will be able to give 100% into every single shot. So I don't recommend for you to do your yardages, your whole bag in a day. I would like for you to split up to your wedges, your irons, your woods, your hybrids, and of course your driver. So it could be just wedges in one day or irons one day, all right? So for example, we go with irons first, all right? So I'll like you to start off with your pitching wedge to maybe your 6-iron. So make sure you have a paper and also a pen so you can write down your yardages. So first of all, we need to use our rangefinder, get a certain distance. Let's say, start off with pitching wedge, okay? Okay, so let's say we hit our pitching wedge about 100 yards, all right? So I would like for you to shoot to a certain target, let's say a pin or a pole or something on the driving range that gives you about 100 yards, and then find something that is about 110 yards and 90 yards, all right? So if you can get those yardages, okay, in one line towards your in line with your target, so you can get 10 balls and start hitting towards the 100 meters. So you might land the first ball about 95 meters, just between the 90 yards or 90 meters, sorry, I'm mixing around meters and yards, but anywhere between 90 meters to 100 meters or 90 yards to 100 yards, just let's say you hit it about 95, somewhere in the middle. So you're gonna write down number one, 95, okay? Then the second ball, you hit it about 100, okay? So you write down 100, then the next ball maybe about 103, or sometimes you hit it 98 or 97 or even 90 once in a while. I would like for you to get 10 balls and then try to average it out. But sometimes we might miss hit, right, in that 10 shots. So I would like you to cut out maybe the 2 longest and 2 shortest shot, and then use that 6 balls and divide by 6 and get your average yardage. That will be your at least rough idea of how far you actually hit your pitching wedge. And then move on to do the same thing with your 9-iron and your 8-iron. But make sure you take breaks in the middle, because if you keep going on, you might get tired in the middle and you might not be able to hit the shot or the speed that you actually could, you know, like you won't be able to produce the best shot when you try to work on your yardages. So it's really important you take breaks and just work on a certain set of clubs, like you just want to work on your irons or just work on your wedges or so on. So when you get that yardages down, fantastic. I would say on average, the gap between the irons will be about 8 meters to 10 meters, or about 8 yards to 10 yards, okay? So if you get those yardages down and you want to be a little bit more specific, you can go on to work on with your, work on like your 3/4 swing, or you can work on like choking down the clubs, choking down. So you can try to get an idea of, let's say I hit my pitching wedge, 105 yards, right? Then my 9 goes about 115 yards, okay, on the carry. Then what am I gonna do with 110 yards, right? So let's say my pitching wedge goes about 105 yards and my 9 goes about 115 yards. So what do I do with 110 yards? I can either try to hit a 3/4 9-iron or try to choke down about 1 inch on a 9-iron. So you need to work on that, okay? Just, you can try it out, but of course that is a little bit more specific, right? So that's another way on working on yardages. Then another one is, I don't have much space, so I'm gonna move on here. Number 3, okay? So I would like you to work on the clock drill. And I prefer to use the clock drill on your wedges, okay? So if you're gonna choose to work on your wedges that day, please go on with the clock drill, and just gonna make sure while you're working on this, you must have really good tempo. Okay, it's really important to have really good tempo in order to hit the shot really consistent and always fly the ball into a certain yardage that you want. Okay, so good tempo goes with the clock drill. Okay, so how we work on the clock drill? When it comes to pitching, I would like for you to get a certain wedge that you like the most. Okay, let's say start off with your 58, okay? Get a 58 and then try to get the yardage again with your rangefinder, let's say 20 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters, and 50 meters. Whatever maximum your 58 degree goes, okay? Then from there, use the clock drill. So let's say you want to hit 30 meters, okay? So imagine yourself, you're a clock, okay? If I take my backswing, let's say my club, in line or pointing at 9 o'clock and finishing it at 3 o'clock, and that gives me maybe about 30 meters. For me, I use my 58 degree, bring my club in line with 9 o'clock and finish at 3 o'clock. Again, I'm the clock, okay? I'm the clock, so 9 o'clock is here, 3 o'clock is here, 12 and 6 o'clock, okay? So if I get it to 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock and it gives me about 30 yards, great. So I need to do it again, like 10 balls and find the average, okay? So I know that, okay, when I'm taking this certain backswing and certain follow through with a good tempo, I'll be able to hit it a certain yardage. And then we just lengthen it a bit, okay? Maybe my arm will be pointing at 9 o'clock and follow through, my right arm will be pointing at 3 o'clock, and that will give me about 50 yards or 50 meters. It really depends. So everyone is different. Make sure you have a good tempo. Work on the clock drill for your wedges, all the way up to maybe about 100 yards. It depends how far you hit your wedges and how many wedges you have in your bag, okay? So work on that clock drill, and that will help you hit your wedges better. Okay, so that's the 3 ways on how to work on getting better distance control. Work on the driving range, work on your full swings, make sure you warm up properly, work on 3/4, choking down, get your yardages, and of course the clock drill for your wedges, okay, up to about 100 meters, I would say. Make sure you have good tempo while you're working on it. Just make sure you take breaks in between. One thing is I would like to mention is when you're on a driving range, and we know that range balls usually don't go as far as the golf course, right? The range ball will not go as far as our actual ball, like the ball that we use, okay? So I don't recommend, or it's not that I don't recommend, I don't really think that you will get your accurate yardages with the driver or the wood or the hybrids, or sometimes even with your long irons, okay? With the people that are hitting it really far with their long irons, maybe you might not be able to get the exact yardages. So I think that in order to get your exact yardages, you will have to play a lot more. So again, really need to have a rangefinder. So when you're standing on the tee box, for example, you're standing on the tee box, and let's say you use your rangefinder and shoot it to a certain target, let's say a bunker or a lip of a bunker. Let's say the lip of a bunker is about 220 yards or 230 yards, right? So you're gonna hit your driver and see if the ball actually just carry over a certain target. Let's say it carries over the bunker or ends up in a bunker or ends up short of the bunker. So you roughly have an idea of how far you hit your driver, and then move on to the next hole, shoot to a certain target. Let's say you have to carry a hazard, or you have to carry something, or a slope or a hump or something on a golf course. Make sure you get those yardages down and write it on your scorecard, like first hole how far you hit your drive, second hole how far you hit your drive, or it could be hitting the wood or could be hitting the hybrid. So I think that if you do that on the golf course with the longer clubs, and your yardages will be a lot more accurate compared to the driving range, because sometimes in the driving range, when you hit about 260 yards or 250 yards, sometimes the range is not even that long, right? So sometimes if you hit it far, you can't even see where the ball lands. So I think that in order to get more accurate yardages for your longer clubs, I think that you have to do it on the golf course. So again, get yourself a rangefinder and work on your yardages. All right, so I got one more point that I think that will affect your judgment on the golf course, and of course your distance control, which is adapting to the weather. Okay, so when you're playing in cold and wet weather, your distance would definitely be a bit shorter. So let's say you have about 150 meters or yards to the pin or to the target, okay, and you usually hit your 7-iron. So when it's cold or wet, you have to give yourself a certain yardage as well. Like, you know that, okay, it's 150, I'm not hitting it as far as usual. Let me hit my 160 or 170 meter club, right? So it could be your 5-iron or your 6-iron. So instead of thinking I should hit my 7-iron harder, so you need to give yourself a certain yardage in different environment, different condition. And if you're in hot and dry weather, the ball will travel further, and you need to club down a bit. That means if you have to hit a 7-iron, if your usual distance is 7-iron, you might want to go with a 9 or 8-iron. And one more point is the altitude. If you're standing higher than your target, okay, the ball is going to travel further, and if you're hitting it uphill, the ball is going to travel lesser. So if the pin is up here, okay, if you're hitting uphill, you have to club up, and if you're hitting downhill, you have to club down. Okay, club down means if you hit a 7-iron, move to hit an 8-iron, okay? So this is also another point that you have to think about before you decide on what club you want to hit. All right, so overall, that's what I want to talk about today. Distance versus distance control. I think that they are equally important, but today I focus a lot more on distance control because I think this is one thing that will definitely help you improve, score better, hit more greens, of course, have shorter putts, and also plan your game better. So I think that it's really important that we have good distance control, and I hope that this video will help you hit it better, okay? Have an idea how far you actually hit every single club, because golf is a game that we have so many clubs in our bag, right? So we have all these weapons that's gonna help us to play the game better, so might as well make full use of it instead of trying to stress ourselves out of why am I not hitting it a certain yardages that I think that I should be hitting, okay? Instead of knowing yourself better and knowing what club you use for certain yardages, and just do not care about what other people do or how other people or how far they hit their clubs, okay? So I just think that know yourself better, practice hard, practice smart, just always go to the range with a goal, okay? Again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys do have any question, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you.